Hello everyone, this is Ross. Hopefully you can hear me this time. Basically today I'm going to be talking about Tantra, meditation. I'm not sure what those do. There's something else I forgot about. And a bit of the breath. Okay, so Tantra. Basically with Tantra, when you want to last longer, the basic one is like a lot of you guys want to last longer during sex. The basic thing you can do is you can focus on your breathing whilst you're having sex. See, notice when you're about to come or orgasm, your breathing gets shallow, and you start to tense up, your body starts to tense up, It's because your breathing gets more shallow and shallow, you're not relaxing, So, one thing you can do is focus on the breath to last longer. Try it. Well, that's one thing you can do last longer during sex. That's the last one we're doing sex. Now, tantric sex is sort of more to do with the flow of the breathing. Basically, when you have sex, you're stimulating your sexual organs, that root chakra type of thing, right? Downstairs, right? Stimulating your individuality in a sense, it's the chakra of your individuality in a sense. You look at that, like your lower self. And your higher self here is your unified self. Unified sense. So basically what you want to do is you want to breathe up from your individuality up to unity, into crown and sort of beyond it in a sense. Sex, when done properly, is bringing individuality to a sense of unity. That can be seen as in the two partners becoming one and joining, and it can be seen through the tantric side of things that are like, you both do the breathing and you both reach a state of samadhi together, where you reach unified consciousness together, or Christ, or higher Christ consciousness together. That's what a good purpose of sex is for. So when you're having sex, what you want to do is you want to breathe up the spine. So when you inhale, you feel the energy going up your spine. That's what you want to do when you're having sex. Okay. So just pretty much breathe up the spine to the top of the head. You can breathe up and down, inhale up, exhale down, if you want. That's fine. But what I like to do is I like to just keep breathing up, because then it sort of gets things going. That's what I do. Now I want to give you a bit of background about Tantra. Now when the Western people, first saw Tantra, they were sort of shocked, they just see all this sort of stuff about sex, and they hear about people drinking alcohol and doing all sorts of drugs and doing all sorts of weird stuff. And it is very, even in India, people are can be a bit scared about it. But basically, what Tantra is, basically when you've reached a state of samadhi, when you've reached a state of meditation or trance and everything, within your own being, by meditation, by renouncing everything first, by letting go, by surrendering, by accepting, getting into that detached attachment I talk about. Basically, after a while, what the guru does for the student is he'll introduce things which can bring about a sense of attachment, or a high, or a sense of ego, and the student has to go into this and not get affected by all that is taking place. Now one of the things is they have sex, and the student pretty much has to engage in sex and sort of enjoy sex, but not think about the woman in a sexual way. A lot of people are going to go, what the fuck, what's the woman sex? You know, think about it in a sexual way. You're supposed to recognize the divinity within the person. and the sense of unity and the sense of God within the situation. You're supposed to like go in it with the innocence of like a child, and you probably think that's fucked up, but pretty much what it is. Another thing that they do is they start off with like drinking alcohol and stuff like that. And this came to me. This is one of the first things that came to me, and I can't drink alcohol anymore. It's not like I don't drink alcohol. It's not like I can't drink alcohol. So I just don't. Hopefully it'll change soon. But yeah. So when I was in India, all this information was coming to me about like ganja and alcohol, because like I was looking at some stuff, and yeah, my guys were saying the same stuff. When I was in a state of samadhi, all this information was just boom boom coming at me. But basically, one of the uses of alcohol is to refine the consciousness. It's to purify the intent, and that's what they do in Tantra. They overcome the alcohol by doing mantras with the alcohol to purify their intent and their focus, and purify that state of samadhi even more. And then move on to harder drugs, and eventually they move on to like a snake bite or something, and they're supposed to become a cobra bite with their consciousness alone. And then once they've done that, they've mastered their state of being, the consciousness. So that's the Tantra side of it. It's very, very extreme. Like especially overcoming everything with your state of being, with your state of consciousness, with the consciousness alone, with your one-pointed focus. That's what it is. That's what Tantra is. But it's very extreme. Let's go on a few drugs here. So I find it funny how like cigarettes and alcohol is like legal in Western societies, and when you think about it, back in the olden days, it's sort of the fancy cunts, or the fancy people, sorry, excuse my language, French, the fancy people who drink really refined alcohol. And in Tantra, they said you're better off using refined alcohol. Like, you've got to use the refined shit. And so it captures my interest that back in the olden days, those fancy people would like drink scotch and smoke cigarettes. Now, when you get into like enlightenment and stuff like that, sometimes you need, like, if you're dissolving too fast, you need a certain vice or something to keep you grounded here. Now, some people, every now and again, when they're dissolving too fast, will use some cigarette, smoke a cigarette or something in that refined state. Or they'll drink alcohol, or they'll use alcohol to refine their intent, or like I was saying before. It's very good for that. Like, you can purify your intent, do some mantras, purify focus. So it's easy for you to manifest what you want, because it draws your intentions up to the surface, and it brings your desires up to the surface. If you can remain coherent, if you can like, how do I do it? If you can now also alcohol's base nature is fire. So if you know how to utilize it with mantras and like breathing and stuff like that, and visualization, you can, instead of losing yourself to alcohol, you can use it for refining yourself. And one thing I know about cigarettes, it's a very it's a grounding, like, because it pretty much shuts your energy down. It's highly addictive. It's a really big poison. All the chemicals and shit too. But basically, if you're dissolving too fast. Now, I don't mean if you're having a bloody anxiety attack, no. I mean if you're literally dissolving too fast, like, you'll know when you're dissolving too fast and you're in samadhi. Have a cigarette. Like, you'll just ground yourself away. And I don't really condone cigarettes. What I do condone is, a lot of you might disagree with this, but what I was doing in India, when I was mainly vegetarian, was I was eating meat every couple of days, because I'm staying on Facebook quite a lot. Now, the Facebook I would observe, and I would keep attached to the physical world by observing. And if you remember me back then, a lot of you remember me back then, I didn't really talk much, but when I did, my opinion was highly valued, because I was bringing the silence and stuff like that, through my opinion, yeah. But yeah, like, I would stay on Facebook and I would eat meat occasionally to ground myself. Otherwise it would have dissolved. I thought it would have gone straight to source. So cigarettes are grounding. Alcohol too can be grounding as well. That can be another grounding thing. So can marijuana in some sense. Basically anything that disrupts the natural harmony of your body in some way, slows it down or just disrupts your natural harmony, which can be pretty much any drugs. Basically will give you a sense of grounding. Yeah. But like I was saying, like in Tantra they use these substances and they overcome them with their state of consciousness. Like they'll drink bottles and bottles of alcohol and stuff like that, to themselves. And they won't get affected at all. They'll stay in their same state of consciousness. They just overcome the effects with their focus, their one pointed focus. The same thing with snake bites and everything, and all these other poison, all these other drugs. It's not to get affected. It's not to let your state of being get affected or attached to the I guess the conflict and stuff. Now, before this bloody video ends, meditation. When you meditate, what's happening is you're opening yourself up to the unified consciousness. You're opening your crown up. And you'll notice when you meditate, when you start focusing on your breath a bit, is when you breathe, you're breathing down the spine from the crown as you inhale, probably even through your legs, through your feet to the center of the earth, and up, That's what happens. That's what happens to me, And so what you're doing is you're bringing your individuality down. So you're breathing down instead of breathing up like you do with sex. And that's pretty much how you get into samadhi. Like you just, like your eighth chakra is above your head somewhere, and that's like your source center. You open your crown up, and then it opens up to that, and you start opening yourself up, like up to that eventually, and eventually it all comes down, and you develop rainwater, and you balance your chakras, and you balance within yourself, emotionally, physically, mentally, and all the spiritual energy will flow too. Basically it's heart and mind. That's the main thing you guys gotta take care of. It's conflict between your emotional and your mental. Your physical body sort of takes care of itself to some degree, and the more you align to it spiritually, the more in tune you get with your physical body. Which, I've got to start getting in tune with my physical body a bit. Like you naturally start detoxing off meat and stuff. And today was the first day in a couple of weeks that I felt like fruit. Also, if you notice any conflict in any of my videos, I've been transmuting a lot of negative energy. Basically, before what I would do was I would just confine myself to my room because the energy in my house would be too intense. And so what I've been doing now is I've been walking around the house, like right now I'm in the lounge and everything. I've been sitting there just transmuting. I notice that when I sit down at places or if I'm around people, it's not necessarily that I'm absorbing the negative energy, but I'm transmuting it. And if I learn to just flow with it, I just keep transmuting. That's one of my many things I came here to do. So that's what I've been doing lately. So if you notice a bit of tension, that's pretty much what's up. If you notice a bit of ego, that's pretty much what's up, because the ego is sort of like a protection to it. So Tantra, in tantric sex, you breathe up the spine, get your individuality, your crown, your unity, and basically you get into a samadhi-like state by doing that. In meditation, you breathe from the sense of unity from God, you bring it down to your individuality. That's what you do in meditation. That's how you experience God so profoundly. Same with sex, but it's more like, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. And in tantric sex, they don't use substances for a sense of enlightenment. They overcome the effects of those substances, those situations and experience, to refine the state of enlightenment that they already are in, to get deeper into it. They don't want to have any limitations. So if you just want to try something new with sex, see how long you can last, just focus on your breath when you're having sex. Do it when you meditate too, and it'll increase your meditation too. Sex and meditation go hand in hand. I recommend that you guys meditate first and get used to that. Relax your body a bit. and then you start engaging in sex. But yeah, namaste, as you say. And yeah, like if anyone actually is wondering as to my heritage, I'm half Indian. My Indian side, they're more Christians and stuff, but I resonate. Don't tell them this. But I resonate not necessarily with the Hindu stuff or the Buddhist stuff or any of that stuff, but I resonate with the Indian sort of side of spirituality more. But it's funny because as I've opened myself up to this Indian side of spirituality, I've seen the truth within all spiritual traditions. I see the unity. I see all these religions, all these paths, all these spiritual paths, and I don't call myself religious. I think that's a limitation because all religion is spirituality sort of like translated to different ego sets or cultures, you know, certain mindsets, and I think that's a big limitation. I consider myself spiritual, which means I'm open more to direct experience or something, you know, rather than ritual. Yeah. And yeah, it all comes from acceptance. So I'm half Indian, I'm half white. If anyone is ever wondering as to what, you know, what ethnic background I am. Yeah. But I resonate more with Indian. Oh, I'm not talking about that. I resonate more with Indian mainly because the majority of my past lives, which I remember clearly, have been either Indian, maybe Middle Eastern. There's one in Africa, one in, I think a few in Mexico, in South America. I remember my Atlantis past life as well. And yes, I do have some otherworldly past lives. I haven't, like, well, I know some of them, but I haven't really gone too deep into that, you know. Yeah. But yeah, Alright. Namaste once again. Much love and take care. I hope you enjoyed this video. Love you.